Hey up guys, what's going on? Welcome back to York City. We're second. I can't explain it, but a few teams directly behind us with a game in hand, although only Oxford can leapfrog us at this point. But I've sort of just sat on this table because I've been pondering why potentially we're doing a lot better than I was anticipating, I suppose the word would be. I was sort of anticipating us to be mid-table-ish, maybe doing the best of the rest kind of deal that we did in the first year in League Two, of course, just missing out on those playoffs. But I figured us to be in that chasing pack. Now, of course, we are only 9-10 games into this particular season, so still early days. And there's a couple of things that we do need to obviously put an asterisk on in regards to the current position. Is number one, majority of teams that we've played and beaten are in the bottom half. And number two, we had a similar start in that first season in League Two before we sort of gradually sort of slid down a little bit over time, ending up in 8th, of course. So, still early days. We've still got to play quite a lot of the bigger sides here. We've still got to play Oxford, Lincoln, Portsmouth, even bigger sides that aren't currently doing particularly well right now, like Ipswich, for instance. We've still got to play teams like that. Barnsley. Still got to deal with them. Rotherham as well. So, teams that have been Championship, still got to deal with them so far. And it sort of led me to a little bit of a quandary because I don't know really what you'd call a League One side. Because you've sort of got the ones that could easily be interchangeable with League Two sides, and then you've got the ones that kind of bounce up between Championship and League One, sort of the perennial promotion relegations like Barnsley, Rotherham, teams like that. And there's not really much in between those two. Like pretty much like the top six typically, you'd argue the top six of this and the bottom six of the Championship largely interchangeable. And then the rest of this league, you'd probably argue, are largely interchangeable with League Two sides, top half of League Two, for instance. So, if your Mansfields, your Exeters, Plymouths, they're all, they're, you won't be surprised to see them in either division if you simulate it into the future, for instance. Some of the ones I would say probably League Two, like League One, like the ones that would struggle to be in the Championship, but are definitely too good for the League Two. Sort of your Lincolns, your Oxfords. You'd argue Coventry, but they have been relegated in this particular save so far already, as we well know. So, Portsmouth may be perennial League One. I mean, they've been in the playoffs literally every single season and failed. So, you'd probably sadly say Sunderland at this point in time. Although, if they went up, you say they probably have a good chance of staying up. Maybe next year, potentially, depending on how well they've invested, of course, in the save. They say the same with Lincoln. They've been promoted. They've been relegated straight away, so that's kind of expected. Oxford actually went up here when they got promoted and only just come back down. So they've actually made a better go of it than you probably expect. It's a weird league, League One. And the other thing to factor into our current position is the fact that we are 6th on the prediction list. So where we are currently is not maybe quite as surprising as it first may seem. Those words should go in a certain order, and I'm not sure I put them in the right order. You gotta say, though, Barnsley, Sunderland, Ipswich, very much underperforming right now. Arguably Notts County too, a little bit. Oldham, though, Jesus. Just realised they're 50-1, they're 7th. That's a good, remarkable one. Lincoln, though, slightly overperforming compared to... Hang on, we've got a better chance of winning than Lincoln, who were just relegated. They've got players worth millions. That being said, okay... That being said, they may be worth millions, but at the same time, I mean, sure, maybe overall, there's a little bit more overall than average, perhaps, but you're looking at it, they don't have a scintillating amount of good stats on them, do they? Curious. They did sell a couple of players after being relegated, of course, but interesting. Now, we obviously need to explain why we're second. After losing to Southampton 2-0 in Carabao Cup, spirited, but not unexpected. We did beat Bolton 3-0, they're bottom. I play through this after the update, where they fixed penalties. I'm not sure if this is an accident, but I think they may have fixed it a little bit too far the other way. Because the first 19 penalties went in. It was a central defender that missed, unsurprisingly, but yeah, it's ridiculous. By the way, they shouldn't have even been in that game. One shot on target, it's gone in. Of course it has. Oldham, of course, predicted promotion odds of 50-1. We're at 5th at the time we played them. They had 4 shots on target. 3 of them went in. We had 12. Shrewsbury 4-0. Fair enough. Nice and easy. And Coventry 3-2. That was a fun one. of course, they're right behind us in the prediction list, but of course they came up with us and probably should have been League One as well. Now, there's a name I need to introduce you to very, very quickly because I realise I have rambled quite a lot already so far. And that is Matto. Not sure how to say his surname because he's Bosnian, and I'm not quite sure how the J's work in that particular language. Because J's are the letter that just get pronounced in completely different ways, no matter depending on where you're from. It could be Hahalo, it could be Jajalo, it could be Yayayo. No idea. But I'm going to say Englishly for the time being and say Jajalo, but I might just call him Matto for the time being because that's obvious. He was a free transfer. I think he's more than 2.5 stars. Physically, yes, he's declining. He's 35 for crying out loud, but he does have 16 natural fitness. So whilst these are downwards arrows on the pace and what have you, they are still 8, which aren't shabby, especially for a 35-year-old, and should retain that quite well. 15 technique, 15 passing, 14 first touch. Brilliant. Mentals. I don't need to say anything about the mentals, really, do I? He's very much mentoring everyone right now. Yeah, those are good mentals. Admittedly, a lot of them are 13, which is my cut-off point, so maybe it is a little bit flattering. If I was to tick everything up by 1 point, quite a lot of these would suddenly become light blue. But for £1,500 per week, welcome Matto, Jajalo, possibly. Not really played a lot in the last few years, particularly in the save, and he says he's League 2, but honestly, no, he isn't. Now, today is Forest Green and then Lincoln, of course, a team that I was local to growing up. In fact, realistically, other than Boston, the only other team I was local to. I'm very much happy for their recent successes. Just sad that their good start to the season was not continued after Danny Cowley left. But that was expected because Danny Cowley is a god. So, actually, where is Danny in this? Oh dear, he's unemployed. He was Crystal Palace manager, though. Who I think were Premier League. His stats, though, have become ridiculous. Yeah, they're still Premier League. They've got Claude Makelele now. Just curious. 29 games won, 25 games drawn, 51 lost. Not the best, but it is Crystal Palace. Although they are ninth now under Makelele. 6 games. Oh, he's only recently been sacked. End of last year. They have Rudiger now. And Dwight McNeil. Okay. Probably part of why they're doing quite well, to be honest, then. After 6 games. Sol Campbell's in charge of Forest Green. Yep, sure. Now, we do have a little bit of an issue. Our defenders are a bit tired. I didn't rest them in between, so we are playing some players under 90% condition, but we'll survive, I hope. We've had to rest a couple that we can sort of afford to. Clark and Nassell there being rested a little bit. Dijalo starts as well. Dean, what's up with Dean? Injured. That's what happened to him. Sprained wrist. Fell over weirdly, I guess. But I'm essentially having to work out which striker is going to be consistent because Dan Morgan still only has 2 goals. I put Hugh King in for a few games because he was predicted to be top goal scorer. He didn't score at all. So it's now a few games later. It's Lopez's turn, and all of my strikers are apparently 2 stars now. Don't know what's going on. I can only presume it's because other players are getting better, like Gardner Hickman, who cannot stop scoring. He has 7. But the team for this one will be Dutra in goal. Vokins, Borges, Egger. By the way, the 3-0 with Oldham. Yes, we did bottle it. I forgot to take Tid Smith out of goal from after putting him in for the EFL trophy, which I'm not sure if was part of it, but he did concede 3 and 2 in the later stages. So Dutra comes back in. It was accidental that he wasn't in goal then, but never mind. Vokins, Borges, Edgar in defence. Of course, Shao on the right. Matto in defensive role. Illich and Sabara there in front of him. Gardner Hickman, Litao, Lopez up front for this one. Bench is very homegrown. I have to say, I have been impressed with Matto in the actual game as well. So he's not just a mentoring face. I'm not going to lie. Hang on. Let me just get this one. Expect nothing but a win. There we are. See if we can keep this good start going. Yeah, so what I was about to say was, I'm not going to lie. Matto's existence in this team right now may have been because I was searching older. Lito scored after 6 minutes. I'll finish the sentence shortly. Yeah, I may have been scouting sort of older players with a little bit of name recognition, maybe that we could have brought in, get some shirt sales, whatever. I did approach former Chelsea player Ramirez, who is 36 and actually very good still, and not overly bad on the old physical front still. I think he was slightly worse physically than Jajalo is, but his stats otherwise were still better somehow. He did want about £8,000 per week though, so that's a no. If I'd been in sort of Lincoln's position, maybe, sure, they're paying people £8,000 a week. They can afford it. I can't. And so far, so good. 1-0, of course. We've scored a goal, which happened very quickly. And then, so far, 11 shots, 4 on target, 4 off, 3 blocks. So we're splitting them up quite evenly, actually. And 50-50 on the possession front, which is a little bit rare, to be fair. Even if we're not playing particularly well, we do tend to have a lot of the possession. Gardner-Hickman, though, is going to get on the other one. Lopez is there to capitalise. First goal of the season for Lopez, and maybe he's the answer this season. Of course, played in the shadow of his, well, supposed backup Dan Morgan last year. Did get 10 goals. Goal every other game on average when he was playing. But here we are then. Lopez, first start, I believe, for him this season, and first goal. So maybe the slightly more experienced head, he's 23, of Lopez is the answer here. Does it look like either Portsmouth aren't playing today or they are losing? No, they must be drawing because I think they're on 22 points. I don't know what's going on. I'll check in a second. But something's not going on quite well with Portsmouth right now. Shall, though. I see Coventry nipped into the playoffs as well. Shall, though. Still Shall. Come on. Hickman's there. Oh, it's nearly a goal I've seen time and time again. The ball whipped into Gardner-Hickman at the back post and, well, we're shutting them out right now. What is going on Portsmouth-wise? Oh, they are losing to Exeter. That's a South Coast derby. They could not be afforded to be losing right now. Let's certainly say, don't let your performance levels drop. Oh, that's the complacent equivalent, isn't it? What have I done, folks? What have I done? They've got one player really tired, though. Someone's there. What's happened here? There's a penalty. Giallo, very good at penalties. We'll be taking them. And I've seen about 20 penalties so far since the match engine's changed, and all of them have gone in bar one. Add another one to the list. Third goal this season. 2 are penalties, 1 aren't. Isn't, I think. Anyway, well placed, beyond the goalie's reach. Well, so far, still shutting them out. Vokins is quite tired on the left-hand side. Now, I don't know why that is. He was actually okay to start, so... Oh, I did before I stand him on the bench, because I'm an idiot. So there we are. Oh, I tried to, that's why. I need to have Clark on the bench. I knew there was a reason for it. I need to have Clark around at all times because he's homegrown club. That's why that's happened. Right, Sabara probably a little bit tired. Edgar's on a 7.1. We are 3-0 up, so maybe I could afford to take him off. Gardner-Hickman's quite tired too. Ebersbach comes in on the left-hand side. Gradually getting better. Bear in mind that's his star rating compared to Gardner-Hickman these days, so I'd argue that is an improvement still. The fact he's still on 1.5. We've had 10 shots on target. They've had none. I've not had a game like this, I don't think. Portsmouth are winning now, I notice. Well cleared. Stuart Duarte now. Why does that ring a bell? Hang on, is that Stuart Downing? Surely not. It's got to be 40. Rodrigo. Well, that was nicely dealt with defensively. You may notice, of course, in that season preview page that both Gardner-Hickman and Edgar were on the team of the division, whatever they want to call it. Media Dream 11, that's what it's called, isn't it? Lopez is going to get on the end of this. I have no idea if this is the main part of the highlight or not. Can't remember if that corner came from open play. It did. There we are. Phillips with a 4-goal haul. Well, 5. No, not for him, though. Matty Downing. That makes more sense. Not having a great game, though. I guess we'll make the last change. Sabara. Off he comes. DK's on. Miles will just go... Well, a bit late now to go balanced. It's not like it's going to save too much of legs at this stage. Well, convincing. How can I say anything other than I'm pleased with the result and how you played? Seriously. Pulisic has gone to Liverpool. Like they needed any more wingers. Portsmouth was unbeaten, of course, at this stage. Shaw on an 8.2, despite not assisting or scoring. Well, his wage has gone up to £475 a week, by the way. I don't know how we're going to afford him. A couple of catch-up games have been played, but none of them affect us. Obviously, this that Oxford one that we care about. Portsmouth too, of course. They have a game in hand and they're still ahead of us. But realistically, I'm not aiming at the title, but I find myself in that race. Oh, Shaw can now speak good English. He's only been here a year. Admittedly, he spent half of it back in China, which probably is something to do with that. This would be why Oxford have a game in hand, though. We're in the Carabao Cup. That's Portsmouth game in hand dealt with. They've won it. That's a big one. 4 to 7 weeks. We'll go through next game against Lincoln. I've just seen what game's in 4 weeks' time, basically. One of those rare times where I'm actually tempted by the injections, but we'll let him do that naturally so A, don't annoy him, and B, hopefully he's back for Portsmouth. Now, Lincoln are a team that we've come up a surprising amount of times against, despite not being in the same division at any point until now. We have friendlied them once, and we've met them in cup competitions twice at this point. I believe. It might have been 2 friendlies, 1 cup. We were definitely in the cup in the EFL trophy at one point. Can't remember the other one off the top of my head. Ebbers back, though, obviously comes in for Lee Tao straight off the bat. Well, Genie makes the bench as a result. Clark comes back in. Shaonan stays on the bench, of course, because he can do both sides. So I only need 1 fullback for 2 positions. Lopez starts, despite the fact that my team wanted me to put Dan Morgan on the pitch. And Nacelle obviously comes back in the lineup as well. So yeah, the 2 players that stepped out step back in. Otherwise, exactly the same formation and players. So Nacelle's in the attacking midfielder role, and Clark's back in at right back. Otherwise, identical. Of course, Evers back in for injured Lee Tao. I hope that made sense. I feel like that was a bit rambling. They're doing 4-4-1-1. Assertively say. Oh, passionate. We're away from home. Pundits. It's sort of my derby in a weird way. Because I'm pretty certain Lincoln are down as my top team on this, or at least one of my top teams on this, as a manager. So it's kind of regarded as a derby for me personally, in-game. The team that I'm managing against a team that I admire or support. So Hickman in New Cup. No, not quite. Vokins takes over, goes past 2 of them, 3 of them. What's he done there? Ebersbach's hit the bar. They just about get away with it. This highlight does continue. No, it doesn't. That's a lie. Sorry about that. Excuse me, what? Foot injury? That's not good. No. Well, that's why we have to... I mean, I didn't need to... I shouldn't have had Tavares. Tavares shouldn't even be on the bench. We had an extra homegrown player. Could have put Sergi on the bench. It's normally okay because we can normally push Dean backwards, who is one of the top 4 defenders, despite not being a natural defender. That's a huge injury. I'm sorry, what? Are you seriously injuring my best players? Lincoln, stop this. Upper body. What have they done? Shot him? I've never known it. Well, I mean, nothing's happened in the game other than my players are being assassinated. Avenge your fallen comrades more than anything right now. I'm sorry, Lincoln. I like you. I love you. You're my home city. What are you doing? Why? Oh, conflicting emotions. I mean, literally nothing's happening in this game. I mean, we've... Hello, there's a highlight. Vokins is on this side. Genie, this is the first highlight. Hang on, no, not a penalty. I thought that was about to be a penalty or something there because everything just stopped for a second. Kobo, not Lincoln's existing goalkeeper, so they must have acquired him at some point. What's he doing? There we are, throwing it out to Anderson. G. Williams, please. Morel, Chapman, Grant. Nicely moved by them. Buffalo is, well, sort of abandoned by Clark a little bit, but he's got the ball in there. They've scored. Nashton Lloyd, regen. Great. They're number 9. I mean, that would have been slightly better if we had our defense. Like, is this a tactic? Get rid of our best defender and then try and beat the replacement. And it is the replacement that's missed the header. Just curious. He's just come on. Is he theirs? No, he is actually theirs. He's quite good, actually. Regened at Tottenham by the looks of things. Why wasn't he on my radar? I mean, I didn't need strikers, but why wasn't he not... Actually, clearly he was, because he was clearly scouted when Suarez was still at the club. I've only got 1 more substitution, so I have to use it wisely. And I'm thinking either Illich for Ebersbach or Morgan for Lopez. Morgan it is. I mean, 1-0, 2-0 at this point. Last 10 minutes go attacking. If they score another, it's not a... I mean, goal difference might come into this at some point, but nothing, no highlight apart from the one that happened after 5 minutes and then the goal. That's it. 2 very different games. I'm not happy with the result, but frankly, the result is second to my worry for my players right now. I think Portsmouth drew. They did. That's small mercies, at the very least. 2 to 3 months with broken ribs. What did they do? Tackle. While making a tackle. How do you break your ribs making a tackle? I've seen here Eggers 5-9 days, thank God. How do you break your own ribs when you make the tackle? Oh, that average rating. Oh, I'll talk to him about it. Why not? 6-9 days, that's fine. He misses 1 game, maybe 2. Send the assistant. I'm too angry. I may not be angry on the outside visually right now, but inside I'm seething. I'm good at masking my emotions, for better or for worse. By the way, this lad's tearing up League One. I don't know if you saw it, that's why I decided to scout him. I mean, that's a kick in the teeth. Or an elbow in the ribs, whichever way you want to look at it. You're injured. Congratulations winning Sky Bet Player of the Month. South, by the way, having fun at Solihull again. Neil Bennett's the 3rd. Oh, why couldn't you have done that kind of average rating for us? Do you want to come back? We've got an opening. No, seriously, never come back. Where was this performance? Where were those performances when you're playing? Admittedly, he's gone down 2 divisions at this point. Well, 1 at the time we sold him, but well, obviously, the showdowns against Portsmouth and Barnsley seem to be the big ones right now. Provided, of course, Portsmouth stay at the top, and Barnsley recently relegated, so that's a big old tough challenge. Even though they are kind of struggling, very hard to kind of pick out the games here because Rotherham, Oxford, Exeter all seem like fairly worthy opponents. But Portsmouth is a big one, and I think we'll probably do Barnsley as our former affiliate, of course, now met in the same division. We'll deal with those two next. Plus, we all know what happens when the FA Cup rolls around. I end up doing like a match every 2 matches, so we'll put bigger gaps in at the start. Until then, ta-ra.